Good evening, race fans. How the hell are we? It is Sunday evening, and Sunday evening means my microphone's not working properly, which usually the case. Give it a sec. Is that better? That must be better. Hang on. There we go. Working better. Right, there we go. I don't know why my mic seems to have a mind of its own and set its own levels whenever it decides to. So basically, I'm going to have to hit it with a hammer or something. Maybe that's the case. Just give it a little whack. Hang on. That should be better. Right. Okay. It's round number one of the PGS Esports Formula One Championship, and we come to you live, absolutely live from Canada, the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. One of my favourite racetracks. I love it. I love anything that's got lots of straights in it because I'm not very good at corners. So if it's got long straights, I am a happy bunny. So yeah, that's why I love this one. Tricky circuit though, Gilles Villeneuve. It does require you to have your wits about you. Great race last week in the pre-season event for Tier 2, and fully expect these guys to bring it again this week. We saw the Tier 1 guys fall upon the wayside a little bit, but driving standards here in Tier 2 seem to be on point. So let's introduce you to everybody in Tier 2. That's your lineup for Tier 2 this season. I think we've got 15 today, which isn't bad. I think there might be a couple of, what they called, I forgot what they called, the reserves, that's the word. A couple of reserves in there today. Looking forward to that. We're just waiting for a few people to check in. Let's check over with Crofty about the track. I'm going to warn you now, I still haven't updated the track for 2023. It's EA's fault and Codemasters' fault, because if they just brought out updates every year rather than brand new games, I wouldn't need to keep updating this.
All it takes is one look around the crowd to know that race day is finally here. The atmosphere at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve is incredible, and personally I think we're in for a brilliant race. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles per hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions, and watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and that final chicane.
Thanks very much, Crofty. That's all you need to know about Canada. It's fast, it's frantic, the Wall of Champions has got blood all over it, and hopefully we don't have carbon fibre all over the racetrack by the end of today's race. Moving swiftly on, shall we? Boom, we're in the lobby and we're ready to go. What's going on there? I've got a little problem with my... What is going on with that? That should be down there. No? Oh, I know what the problem is. Watch this. My thingy's broken. That's that one. Hang on, I'm going to fix it on the fly because that's how I roll. I had to do a massive reset earlier, that'll be why. Oh, I don't know if I can fix this one. This might require a little bit more finesse. Ooh, this one's probably broken. Oh, how about that then? Right, I'm going to redo this. I'll redo it on the fly. See, this is. We have technical issues sometimes. We don't expect them, but we can fix them anyway. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave that there while I fix it behind the scenes, so you can't see my my brilliant cocking up of things. You'll realise I can't multitask and do things at the same time. I'm just not built that way. Yeah, a little bit upset about that because it was working earlier. And what it is, I had to do a mass reset. I had a couple of computer issues I had to sort out, and so I did my mass reset, and yeah, well, it decided to reset some of the screen for me, which is it's not usual. It's not a problem because we'll be underway very soon. Nearly done. So this is what happens when you rely on a half wit like me. Ready? Boom. There we go. I think I fixed it. There we have it. Ish. Fixed-ish. We'll take that. Okay, so we're just waiting for everyone to be checked in. You can see there we've got all the drivers now. Information. Canada, short, 35 laps, equal performance. So you can't blame the car because it's all about the man in the car. That's essentially how it works when it's equal performance. So Sunday evening, and at the moment it's pretty quiet. Well, actually, I was going to say it's been pretty quiet in my house, but it hasn't. Usually what happens on a Sunday is around midday, everyone leaves, goes to the in-laws for dinner. Unfortunately, one of my kids is sick, so they all left, and then my afternoon of racing and broadcasting and doing whatever I was going to do kind of got lumbered upon by people I wasn't expecting in my house. But there we go. Well, not people I wasn't expecting. I do expect my family to be in the house. I just wasn't expecting them to be here at that particular moment in time. And yeah, so my peace and quiet this afternoon has been shattered. So hopefully, as people are now checking in, we can get cracking with some racing. That'd be pretty darn awesome, wouldn't it? After the race, we will have some interviews with the top three finishers, if they bother to jump in and come and talk to me. I hope they do. It'll be an interesting conversation, I think. It is, of course. We know, of course, Jamie from last week, who won the pre-season, is not with us today. He is not racing in his Red Bull, so no points for him. No additional points for Red Bull. Of course, we've got no league tables to show you, because there is none, because they haven't yet set any points. So we are now logging in. So let's, without further ado, switch over as we load in. Short qualifying, so 18 minutes of qualifying. Now, the best way to go about qualifying is to set your banker lap, get something on the board, something that puts you not plumb last without a time set. Then you can worry about going out there and improving on that time. The last thing that you want, the absolute last thing you want, is to hang around, leave it to the last minute, and then find that you can't quite get the lap you want to set. It's always dangerous leaving it to the last minute. Always dangerous. But some people do. Some people are quite happy just to wait and pop out lastminute.com and give it full beans later on. I'm convinced this microphone is broken because, hang on, hold the line, caller. Yeah, I'm convinced it's broken. This is brand new. It was bought for me for Christmas or actually my birthday, by my kids. But I think they put it second hand. Cheap gets. It looked clean enough. Anyway, we'll see. Right, who we got? Who's going to be first to blink? Tell you what I want first. Where's my map? There's my map. That way I get to see if anyone's gone purple. I also get to see if anyone's crashed. Hopefully we don't have too many accidents. Right, rearranging my screens. I've got too many. I do get caught sometimes watching on the wrong screen and there's a little delay and it just looks a bit weird. Everything seems to be working fine. Let's go bulk. Indeed, let's go. Looking good. Right, who's on and out? Who should we go on board with today? Let's go. Should we go on board with bulk for our opening lap? We're going to do it on the hot lap, of course. We'll get rid of all the stuff. We've got a few cars out there. It's well, in fact, we've got a lot. It's a busy racetrack for so early in the session. I know I said get out there and do a banker lap, but holy sweet baby Jesus, it's busy. Just Nibman, El Compadre, Zippo, and Breezy not on track at the moment, so it's going to be difficult to find space. And that's absolute paramount importance. So we'll get let's get rid of all of this. Let's get on board with bulk. You want to leave yourself as much room as possible, but you need to have a good run down towards the chicane at the end of this very, very long straight at Gilles Villeneuve. Heading down with the power on full. 8th gear into the braking zone, changing down into 4th, get it turned in, get back on that power, you cross the line and your lap begins, heading down towards turn 1. It kinks to the right before you brake, and then it's left and right combo, nice and slow, get it turned on the power yet again under that MSC Cruises bridge, and you can see the road sweeps round to the right hand side, car moving out of his way, before you've got the right left combo which heads you down for another left-hander, another sweeping right-hander, all at full power. Next braking zone, left and right combo. It's almost like it's every single corner here, other than the big 180 at the end, is a sort of left-right or a right-left combo, just to sort of test out your not only ability to get the brakes on and turn in, but also the change of direction. And big braking zone here. This can make or break your entire lap, and that is not the way to do it. You want to take a nice tight line through there and let it go wide on the exit before you get on the power. DRS wide open as you head down towards the Wall of Champions. Under the Rolex bridge before you look to the 50-metre board on those brakes. 4th gear. Don't go too wide on the exit because that is all wall. And there we go, across the line. And that is second for bulk. Not bad for an opening lap, as we see the laps starting to come in. We've got Gijas part 13. I'll take it he's being built at the moment. So Gijas is currently on pole with a 1:12.0 until Thais Coviero does that in the Aston Martin. That is a 1:11.096. That is almost 1 entire second quicker than the previous hot lap. And we've already lost Zippo plays from this session. And this is before... don't know, let's have a look, see if we can find a car that's going to find... Oh, no, he's already gone. And this is before he has even set a time. So he's going to be at the back of the grid. It's Thais Coviero on pole, joined on the front row. 1 second back is Gijas. It was me. It wasn't. It was him in the Ferrari with a 1:12.88 tenths of a second. Puts him back on row 2 with wild eyes for company. Nothing but a piece of paper separates those two in terms of time. Vine with a 13.1. Bulk with a 13.4. That's row 3 for the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull racing car. Tenastic, it's fantastic. It's a 14.2. And Disco Bobby with a 1:26.8 in Lewis Hamilton's car, of course, which is... no, I'm not allowed. I'm not going to. I'm going to be nice. He's a very nice racing driver. So, we've still got Alex Nibman, El Compadre, Jesper, Breezy, Vince and Wombat, all still to set a hot lap. Zippo Play's not going to get the opportunity to do so. But Alex on a hot lap now in that Alpine. Is he going to go purple? Is he going to go green? Or is he going to go red as we go through the sectors? Into sector 2, he's getting that power down in that Alpine. He wants to try and get himself near that front row. It's not the easiest place in the world to overtake Canada. You've got a lot of those sort of left-right combos make it difficult to make overtakes. You've got, of course, the hairpin at the end of Sector 2, beginning of Sector 3, which takes you down, or in fact, the whole of Sector 3, in fact, until the start-finish line is essentially one long straight, bar the chicane. It's a really, really simple part of the racetrack, to be fair, but so crucial to the entire lap. Across the line, he will go E-I-E-I-O. That's row 3. 112.9. Nothing separating him and Vine at the moment. So, we've got two cars gone sub 1 minute 12 as Jesper in the Haas puts himself onto that front row with a 111.4. Still nearly 5 tenths of a second, sorry. Separating Tyres on pole from Jesper, joining him on that front row. Doesn't seem fair that you're half a second quicker than someone and he's right next to you. Then another more than half a second back to row 2 with Giehaus and Disco Bobby. They're not separated by much. It was me and Wide Eye's not separated by much either. Then, of course, Alex just put in that 112.9. Vine with a 112.9. Also, Nibbon now with a 13.3 in that other Mercedes-Benz. Bulk with the 13.4 in that Red Bull. And Tenastic Fantastic with a 114.2. Wombat now out of this session as well. So, how do we decide who goes at the back out of Zippo Plays and Wombat, I suppose? Who's got the more broken car goes at the back? Who knows? Who decides? So, El Compadre, he's on his out lap. Breezy and Vince, it looks like they're on their hot laps. Where's the Williams? Where's the Alfa Romeo? Where's the Aston Martin going to end up on this grid? The time to beat is a 111.0. I've got to be brutally honest. That's a crazy, crazy quick time round here. Bearing in mind these drivers are tier 2, and that's nothing against their quality. It just means that the times are going to be spread out that little bit. I don't know what AR they right. Look, who am I to criticise someone driving? I am dog doo-doo at driving. Although I did have quite a good day today. Quite a good day today on some GT racing. I don't race F1 much. One, because I'm not very good at it. And two, just because I haven't got time. I'm a busy man with enough things to do. Right, there's Vince, slap bang in the middle of the pack with a 112.886, just 6 1/1000 of a second slower than Wild Eyes. His eyes are crazy. And that Alfa Romeo, not far. And that's quite good, actually. When you see teammates that are very similar in terms of pace, it's a good indicator that you're about there or thereabouts. So it was me coming out for another crack of the whip. It's 8 minutes left of this qualifying session. Enough time for 2 hot laps, if you so wish. Jesper on an out lap. He wants to improve that fall. Has he discovered where he can find those 4 tenths? El Compadre puts himself sub 112, as does Giehaus now. So we're starting to see the track rubber in and the times are tumbling. But still, it's Ty's Coviero on pole from Jesper, El Compadre and Giehaus on row 2. Disco Bobby, and it was me on row 3. It's going to get very, very boring very quickly doing that. Wild Eyes and Vince on row 4. It's Alex and Vine on row 5. They're both going out for another crack, and there's not much separating them two in terms of pace at the moment. Nibman with a 13.3. Bulk with his 13.4. He's still in the pits, fiddling with his settings. And Tenastic, fantastic. 113.7. Breezy, the only car still able to set a time that hasn't. Is this the time? He crosses the line, and it's not the time. So, yeah, well, he's clearly had a penalty of some sort because it's red. So He's dancing with death a little bit that he hasn't got a time on the board. There's just 7 minutes left. He's going to have to go all the way round. It's not a huge amount of time. A minute and a half if you're not a race pace because you're moving out of people's way, of course. He's got to get back. He's got to get into the pits. He's then got to do whatever he needs to do to tweak his settings. He's got to get some fuel. He's got to get back out on the track. So you've got to get a little bit of a shift on at this stage. If you're on the track and you haven't set a time, be a little bit worried. It's not often you see someone at this stage not have something on the board. Obviously, Zippo plays on Wombat don't, but because they're crashed, they've left carbon fibre everywhere. They're not putting any. The only time they're sitting is some time into reflecting about their life choices. Now, obviously, everyone wants to make it to the end of the race. We don't want to see many safety cars, but it's always going to be a distinct possibility. What safety car are we going to use, I hear you cry? Well, for me, I love the AMG GT3. I think it's a beautiful car. If anyone from Mercedes is watching, I think it's the world's most beautiful car, and it needs caressing and loving and squeezing and hugging and calling George. And I'll tell you what, I'll tell you where they look fantastic is right outside my house. There's a space to park a car, and it would look brilliant parked there outside my house, and the keys will look really cool sitting on my desk. Obviously, I can't afford one, otherwise I wouldn't be begging for one, would I? Anyway, that's not to say if someone wants to give me an Aston Martin safety car, I would say no. I would absolutely not. But I'd rather have the AMG, given the choice. Tyes Coviero is your pole sitter. Disco Bobby joins him on the front row in the Mercedes-Benz. It's Jesper and El Compadre on row 2. Guy House and it was me on row 3. Guy House looking to improve. He's on an out lap now. One more hot lap from him. And we might see a change at the top. He's got to beat a 1:11.9 if he wants to improve on his time. He needs a 1:11.0. In fact, he needs to go really sub 1:11 if he wants to put himself on pole. He starts his hot lap. Let's go on board with him. I'm going to leave all the info up, though. Let's see as the Aston Martin moves out of the way. That's good awareness from the cars around him to give him that space. I don't know if that was Tyes or that was El Compadre, sorry, yeah. So we're on with Guy House, who's going to try to set the time. El Compadre just ahead of him, and Tyes on pole. Both in the Aston Martin. One of those moved out of his way, and you'd think that you wouldn't really want this guy to be going super quick behind you in the qualifying stakes under the Salesforce signs and at full pelt up towards the hairpin. On the brakes he goes. That wasn't purple, so maybe he's not going just quite quickly. It wasn't even green, so he's clearly losing some time, but it's not red, which is a bit weird because usually red means slow, right? I always get confused whether red means slow or red means it doesn't count for Jack. Into the chicane he goes, very close to the wall. Close is good, against it, bad. Close is always very good. If you can get it. So he does improve a little bit. Jumps above El Compadre with a 1:11.5, but not enough to move him off. Well, no, it does. It moves him off the third row onto the second row, but not enough to get him on the front row. And he's not going to have the time to get the car back, get it in, and come back out for another run. So that is where he will settle. El Compadre in the Aston Martin. Can he now improve his time and put Guy House back onto row 3? That's certainly going to be his aim. And he is currently, where is he on the racetrack? I can't see him. There he is. He's currently coming through sector 2. DRS wide open as they head down towards this right-left combo, which takes you up to the hairpin. Into the combo he goes, down to 4th gear. Get it turned in, back on the power. And then you head down, ready for the big braking zone at this hairpin. And he's weaving a little bit more than you would expect if he's trying to set a hot lap. Into the apex, that's lovely to clip the apex there. Gets on the power nice and early. You've got to be careful because where the racetrack kind of juts out there at the top of the straight, if you get it all kinds of wrong and you go a little bit too wide on the exit, you could easily incur a track limit penalty. cutting across that grass into the chicane, down to fourth gear to get it turned in. Again, very close to the wall where you need to be, and he crosses the line, and that is not an improvement on his best lap so far. So 1:11.6 is his best lap, and he's not going to have another shot at it. The pole sitter, Tyres Coviero, he's out on track in the Aston Martin. Disco Bobby, he's out in the Mercedes-Benz. Who else is out on track? Bulk is out on track. He's looking to improve. Breezy's still not set a time. Is Breezy out? Breezy's out, and he's going hot, hot, hot. He's just gone purple. Does that mean that Breezy, despite the fact he hadn't set a lap as yet, has got balls of steel and knows how quick he is in that Williams racing car into this last left-right combo or right-left combo before the hairpin? Are we going to see another purple sector? Yes, we are. Breezy is purple into sector 3. This is all about straight line speed. Get your foot on that accelerator. Head down towards the chicane. Will we see Breezy, despite not setting a time until the dying death of qualifying, put himself on pole? Of course, Tyres Coviero is on track. He could still improve on that time. Is this a sub 110? A little touch of the wall. That's going to harm his time. How much does it harm it by? Well, I don't know what happened there, but that wasn't a time at all. So there we go. That is over for Breezy. He was going purple all the way, and then a little mistake at the end. He clipped that wall, and it was all over for him. So no time set for Breezy. Well, it's disappointing. It's disappointing. But that means he's going to start towards the back, or actually at the back, as Tyres Coviero improves his time very slightly, makes it 1:11.049. So Aston Martin currently sitting on pole. Disco Bobby, is he heading down towards pole position as Jesper settles for third? He might not necessarily stay there, but he has to settle for third at the moment. Here comes Disco Bobby into the chicane. Avoid the wall. Get it turned in. Very, very close. But gets away with it. Heads down towards the line. And that will be pole position for Disco Bobby. A 1:10.9. And he is on pole position. Nicks that pole position from Tyres Coviero with a phenomenal drive to the line. That was absolutely fabulous. And I think Breezy, bearing in mind that Breezy was looking just as quick as that, he's going to be disappointed to find that not only has he not set time, but that Disco Bobby has managed to nick that quite, not easily, but convincingly. So a 1:10, the only sub 1:11 lap in qualifying, and it's Disco Bobby that gets it. Tyres Coviero is going to have to settle for second on that front row. Jesper and Giehaus currently on row 2. How long does it stay like that as Giehaus is heading down towards the chicane? He's red, so that's unlikely to be better. Anyone else still on a hot lap because the time is done? Wild Eyes, he's heading down the straight. Has he made it? He has. He has made it in time for a hot lap by the looks of it. Or is he not? No, he's done. He's done. Okay. So everybody's got their lap set. Giehaus in the pits, Tyres Coviero in the pits. Breezy couldn't get a time set. Zippo Plays, Wombat, they didn't set time either. They crashed out early on in this session, which prevented them from having a go. With Breezy, he was purple all the way and just went wrong at the very, very end, which allowed Disco Bobby to steal pole from Tyres Coviero. There is your pole sitter. Pole for Disco Bobby. Moving swiftly on. Right, we'll have the full rundown. Looking at me through his little pretend glasses. Disco Bobby in the Mercedes AMG Petronas takes pole position and is joined on the front row by Tyres Coviero in the Aston Martin. Row 2 will be Jesper and Giehaus in the Haas and the AlphaTauri respectively. Another Aston Martin with El Compadre in 5th, and Vine in the Alfa Romeo in 6th, joining him on row 3. Row 4 will be Alex in the Alpine. It was me in the Ferrari. Wide Eyes in the Alpha Tauri and Nibman in the other Mercedes-Benz on row 5, rounding out that top 10. Vince in the Alfa Romeo is 11th with Telastic in the Ferrari. 12th. Then on in 13th is Bulk in the Red Bull with Zippo Plays in the McLaren, Breezy in the Williams, and Haas in the Wombat in the Haas even. Haas in the Wombat. Bringing up the rear, having not set a time in this qualifying session. So here we go. It's race time. This is round number 1. We're at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit in Canada for the opening race of the season. And I've been looking forward to this ever since the dawn of time. No, that's not entirely true. I wasn't around at the dawn of time. But I have been looking forward to it since last week with a great pre-season race that we had. So just waiting. It does take a little bit longer to load up because of the crossplay, because you've got all these different platforms talking to each other. But eventually we'll get there and we will get cracking. But so far, not seen any problems at all with the racing. Now, I'm assuming we're not doing a formation lap. I get confused because some people do it, some people don't. And I know there's been some bugs with it. But I have a feeling we are not doing a formation lap and we're going straight into the race as we stare at the Ferrari garage of Tenastic, and it was me. It wasn't me, it was him. Predictions. Who do we think? I mean, obviously we see what sort of pace we've got in qualifying, but qualifying and racing are two different things. Breezy has shown phenomenal pace, but didn't get a time set. So I think it would be remiss to count Breezy out of a potential top half finish. It's going to be difficult. He's going to have to make a lot of overtakes, but he has shown phenomenal pace. So that's 3, that's 4, that's 5 lights, and they will go out, and we are away. Disco Bobby looking good from the start to head down to turn 1. Everybody through safely. I do want to go a little bit down the order, just make sure no one's having a massive coming together. Looks like everyone got through pretty safe. A pretty good driving thus far. Caution sector 1 for who? Oh, there's some damage there. That came flying off the back of what looked like. That looks like the Ferrari front wing there of It Was Me. Yeah, there's definitely no front wing on that car. We have a virtual safety car on lap 1. So the front wing has disappeared. It says SC, but it also says VSC. So I can't see it. I know the safety, it is a full safety car because you can see it down just after turn 2, or just full turn, yeah, just after turn 2. So the VSC has become a full safety car. Gives us a chance to have a look at tyres. So Disco Bobby on pole on the medium compound tyre. That's Tyres Coviero also on the medium compounds. Mediums for Guy House. Softs for Alex. Alex looking to go racy early doors. And strategies there, hards and mediums, or medium soft. I think medium soft, probably the better option. Although it depends, obviously, safety cars come into play and safety cars make a difference. And that could very well change the strategy. So they're tucking in behind that safety car. Jesper is on the soft compound tyres. El Compadre on the mediums. Nibman also on those mediums. Tenastic starting on the hard compound tyres. And already you can see a bit of a gap forming. To be fair, that gap used to have It Was Me in it. Breezy already up to 9th. That is a phenomenal start from Breezy on those hard compound tyres. I said don't count him out, and I tell you what, I'm a freaking genius. Vince in 10th, Vince is on the hards, Bulk on the hards, Wombat on the softs, Vine is on the hards, It Was Me on the mediums, Zippo Plays on the mediums, and Wild Eyes also on the mediums. So how many chose to pit during that safety car? Well, it was just the bottom 3. It Was Me, Zippo Plays, and Wild Eyes. Ironically, 2 of the 3 that didn't get a qualifying time set. So interesting strategy from those guys, but it does mean that they've got to swap out there. They might have started on the hards and switched tyres potentially. So there is the Aston Martin. No, it's not the Aston Martin. What I'm talking about. That is the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 safety car, which is the best safety car. I don't care what anybody says. It is the best one. I will fight anyone that disagrees with me. Disco Bobby, of course, leading the way, having been on pole, and then the safety car coming, finds himself right at the business end of things. Background noise. I'm trying to get rid of the background noise and keep the mic working properly. Right, so under safety car for the first 3 laps of round 1 here in the PGS Tier 2. Hopefully we see the safety car come in at the end of this lap. Nobody is out. It was me has fixed his car, has got a new front wing. So we're just waiting now for the procession to come round through Sector 3 and slow up ready for, back up the pack ready for a restart. Because what will happen essentially if the safety car comes in this lap, which I hope it does, the safety car will disappear off into the distance, and then Disco Bobby will become the safety car and decide when they go. So that is the case. We're coming round the that's a beautiful shot there of that hairpin, and a great place for the crowd to sit right there and get a great view of the cars from that grandstand. Absolutely fabulous view from there. So Disco Bobby will start to slow the pack up. If we look on board, you can see the safety car disappearing off into the distance. It will pull off into the pits. They'll come round the final chicane, and then Disco Bobby gets to decide when we go racing. And it's down to the cars behind to stay behind and wait and kind of second guess when Disco Bobby's going to go. Is he going to go straight from the off, or is he going to hold on? Well, he decides to go straight from the off, and Tyres sticks with him. Gearhouse sticks with him, although the gap a little bit bigger than I think he'd like. It would have been nice to have tried to get a jump on him. I think they would have liked to have got that. But not. It's only a short blast down to turn 1. So very difficult to gain any kind of immediate traction on the car in front. Disco Bobby leads the way from Tyres Coviero. That's your front 2. Gearhouse, who's up 1 position, into 3rd. Alex up into 4th. Gained 3 positions at the start there. But look at Breezy. Breezy has gained 7 places after that qualifying. And you remember we saw in qualifying just how quick Breezy was. Purple sector after purple sector, but couldn't get it all dialed in and on the board. But now showing some phenomenal pace to be up into 8th place already. Big losers, of course, it was me. With some wing damage, loses 5 places, but has got to have a pit stop. Vine has lost 10 positions. They would have also had to repair when they went in. So, lots of racing still to go. This is lap 4 of 35 here at Gilles Villeneuve, and Disco Bobby still holding Tyres Coviero off as Wombat down in 11th makes the move on Bulk. But Tyres Coviero with the fastest lap thus far, so is putting pressure on Disco Bobby out in the lead. Bulk losing another place, and that is It Was Me with his new shiny front wing making his way up to 12th position. Need some replays, man. Need replays. There's Nibman. Nibman is all over the back of Breezy at the moment, but I think it's more because Breezy has made another position up into 8th. Let's go on board with Breezy and see if how long it's going to be before he catches El Compadre. El Compadre in that Aston Martin, currently running in 6th. Dropped a place from qualifying already, and Breezy just making his way through the field like the cars aren't even there. It's almost like he's turned the AI down to 0 and just decided to have a little bit of fun with it. It's going to get harder. Obviously, the further forward he gets, the harder the competition gets, and it's going to start to become a very, very difficult prospect to catch those cars. And that is profound laziness I've just seen from my firstborn child. The drinks in the fridge need replacing, and I've got a couple of tools like a drill and a saw sitting on top of a fresh one, and he couldn't be bothered to move it. He genuinely couldn't be asked. So fastest lap there from Jesper, who's currently running in fourth position. But Breezy has closed on the back of Alex. El Compadre got past Alex up ahead. We saw that. But now is Breezy going to find a way around? There's a time penalty there for Giehaus in third. Already chucking out penalties. So and Bulk picked up penalties as well. So these guys need to just be wary of track limits, because it's usually for abusing those. So Breezy is closing on the back of Alex. It's going to be a harder prospect the further forward he gets, as I've said. But at the moment, and that's a time penalty for Alex. Alex working so hard to keep away from Breezy that he's picking up little penalties. Safety car again. Who is stricken? Who is broken? Who has died? Looking at the back of the pack, is it Vine? Well, he's certainly some way back. So, safety car comes out again. The race gets completely negated. Drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car for Vince. So, any gaps people have made, close right back up again. Anyone that needs to repair will do so. Shall we see if we can find a car without a front wing? Because that's the most likely scenario, isn't it? The good thing is we've had two safety cars, but we haven't got any DNFs yet, which is good. But what's not good is having two safety cars in the first 7 laps of this race. We've had, at the moment, as it stands, we would have had more laps under safety car than we will under race conditions, which is incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating. Let's have a little look at the chat. I haven't really looked at the chat yet. Let's have a look. Hello, Jamie. How are you? Noonbear, good to see you, man. Yeah, there is something wrong with my mic. It's I don't know what's wrong with it. It keeps playing around. I don't know. Is the honest answer. I don't know. It resets. Basically, for some strange reason, it resets itself every single time I turn my PC on, and I have to fiddle with it and fart with it and all sorts. It tends to be worse on some games than others for whatever reason. I don't know. Anyway, tyres, please. I can bring up the tyre data. I haven't been through it already, but I can bring... Oh, I don't want that, I don't want that. So, tyres. There we go. Tyres for everybody. There you can see what everyone's running. Jesper's the only one running the soft compound tyre at the moment. Lots of cars opting for the hard compounds, which, bearing in mind we've had 2 safety cars already, is pretty darn optimistic. Usually you're going to be using those hard compound tyres because you feel there might be a long session and you want to go long. But so far we've had 7 laps, and we're on lap 8 now, and well, so far most of them have been under safety car conditions. So yeah, optimistic to say the least on the hard compound tyres. Enough safety cars, essentially you can make a set of mediums last as long as a set of hards if you are if you're smart. Because obviously you're not putting the kind, behind the safety car, you're not putting the load through it. You're not asking most of it through the corners. Obviously you want to keep them warm, but you're not scrubbing off all that glorious rubber. So Disco Bobby, he had pulled out just over a second gap over Tyres Coviero, but the safety car has negated all of that, and Tyres has to go back at it again. Tyres did set a fastest lap. That was beaten quite soon after by Jesper. El Compadre is still in there. He's ahead of Breezy at the moment. Breezy now up to 6th position. And bear in mind that he's running the hard compound tyres and sliding through the field. So I would be very afraid when this guy gets on something a little softer and a little grippier. Heading into the pits will be the safety car at the end of this lap. I want to go on board with Breezy at the restart because I want to see just how quickly he closes on the back of El Compadre. If he does. So far, Breezy has scythed his way through that field like a hot knife through very cold butter. absolutely melting his way through. So we go round the chicane, and Disco Bobby starts this race off, and it looks like El Compadre got caught napping a little bit, because Breezy is going to get the run on him into turn one. It's going to be defended on the inside, which is a sensible thing to do. Breezy's going to back out. There's no point going side by side there. The Haas goes wide. That's the Haas of Jesper going wide. So El Compadre and the Haas are going wheel to wheel, but he couldn't quite make it work there. And El Compadre has to tuck in again behind, but looking really, really racy out front at the moment. Disco Bobby and Ty's up ahead. There's Geehouse in third, Jesper, and we're watching at the moment the battle between Jesper and El Compadre and Breezy. Back behind there, look, already we see a gap forming to Vince as Hippo Plays, who didn't get to set a time, overtakes Bulk into 9th place. So Max Bulk-Stappen is in the top 10, but only just. And Alex making his way through as well. He's not anymore. So Bulk's starting to drop down through the order. Long run down. He's got some slipstream. He's got DRS. No, he hasn't, of course, because we just had a safety car. So he's just got slipstream. No DRS for another couple of laps. Heading down towards the chicane. No opportunity there. It's going to be harder now. The cars all out in front. Disco Bobby with the fastest lap. Cars all out in front. You've got Jesper on the soft compounds. Everyone else is running those medium compound tyres. So it is going to be a bit of a task, a bit of an uphill task as well, to catch them while you're on those hard compound tyres, because you don't quite have the torque that they have and the grip out the corner, and they can get on the power just that millisecond earlier and get on the brakes that millisecond later, and it does make a difference. Front two in Disco Bobby and Ty's Coviero. We need like keyboard controls. We just press the number and go to it like I can on GT7 and Assetto Corsa, and on iRacing and pretty much everything apart from, I don't know about Forza. I've never played it. Well, I have. Oh no, I lie. I played it like ages ago. They changed to Forza Horizon and it was dog shit. Apologise for swearing. Disco Bobby leads the way. He started on pole. Ty's started on the front row with him. They're still 1 and 2. Everybody else is somewhere else than where they started. Now, the only way Disco Bobby can be other than where he started is to end this race in disappointment, currently leading the way. DRS now enabled. Is this an opportunity now for Ty's to make a move on Disco Bobby when we hit that first DRS zone, which will be as they come out of this, well, actually into sector 2, isn't it? You come through this sort of left-right combo into the next left-right combo, and then you've got that short blast in sector 2 of DRS before you hit the DRS zone heading down. There's 3 DRS zones here, actually. You've got one in each sector, and the 3 longest straights here, all with DRS opportunities. Geehouse dropping back outside that 1 second window, so not going to get it heading down that straight. Breezy just outside that as well for El Compadre, and Jesper dropping down the order. He's lost a few places. Do we have another safety car? We've got a caution. We've got another caution, sector 2, sector 3, sector 2, but we look to have survived. There is Ty's. He's having a little look. He certainly considered making that move and realised they were a little bit too close to the chicane to get the move completed. DRS again. Here it is, wide open. Down the side this time. Into turn 1. He's got that inside line. Does he make it stick? He's going to have the inside line here. Does he make it stick here as well? Yes, he does. Up into the lead goes Ty's Coviero here on lap 12. Disco Bobby back into second, and Geehouse has absolutely chomped up that gap, and the top 3 now have pulled 3 seconds out on the rest of the pack. El Compadre is now the best of the rest in 4th position, but we've got 2 Aston Martins in the top 5. Good for constructors points, that is. Oh yes. But it is Ty's Coviero, not Disco Bobby, that has taken the lead of this race as we head down to we're heading hurtling actually towards the midway point. I think we finally now have more laps under racing, or we will at the end of this lap, than we have under safety car, which is always a good sign. Let's have a look right down the order. Are there any battles going on at the back of the pack? So there's Wild Eyes. Wild Eyes is 6.7 seconds off the back of Zippo Plays. Zippo Plays in that McLaren is closing in on Vine. Is this move a potential improvement to Zippo Plays lot at the moment? Zippo Plays, this is where they started, so they're going to have to try and gain a position or two for some points. Now, good exit here is important. Wasn't great, but was within that 1 second glory window for DRS, which you'll see the wing now wide open and should close up that 1 second gap. Not closing as fast as you would expect, though. It looks like Vine just had a much better exit. It's 27 seconds, though, or 20, or 17, 15. Well, that closed quick. So Jesper out of the pits. Jesper had a, I think that was a stop, wasn't it? I want to check. It was indeed. Jesper went in for a stop, which is why the Haas is now down in 13th position. It's fantastic. It's tenastic in that Ferrari. 3.1 seconds behind Vince. But behind Tenastic is a very, very tenacious Jesper on nice, fresh tyres. And look how quickly the Haas car is closing down on the back of that Ferrari. Does the old switcheroo and up into 12th place as it was me into a wall. And I'm afraid to say, my friend, you can't park that there. So can we see the stricken car? We can't. So safety car all day long, because there are now bits of carbon fibre all over the racetrack. Bits of carbon fibre and a few little pieces of it was me as well. Not a great day at the office for it was me. Lost the front wing early on, now has lost a whole car. First DNF here in lap 14 of 35 at the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. So all change behind this safety car. This is safety car number 3, of course. So by this reckoning, if we've got we've got 3 after 14 laps. By the end of this race, we should have had 7 safety cars if it continues under this same vein. We did make it, however, 14 laps and 2 safety cars before anyone actually DNF'd. So there is that. But it's all changed out in front. Tyres Coviero leads by 1.7 seconds from Giehaus. I'm assuming Disco Bobby's been in the pits, unless he's made... well, he has. He must have made an error, because before the safety car, Giehaus has managed to get past Disco Bobby. Drive-through penalty for speeding to Giehaus. So that's going to affect him big styly. Disco Bobby going to go into the pits, change out his tyres, and suits you, sir. Unsafe release all day long. That was, but of course we don't have that kind of thing. So dropping down the order a little bit, where does he pop back out, Disco Bobby? Just having a look at who hasn't pit. Vince is the only car that hasn't yet been in for a stop. And up into 7th. Now, on the hard compound tyres, as you would expect, you would have thought you'd take this opportunity to go in now. I suppose from the aspect that you don't want to, you've got to run 2 compounds. It's a difficult choice to make, especially if you are planning to one-stop this race. It's a really difficult choice to make. So you will want to... I mean, for me, I would have gone in and changed out for something softer, because you've got to consider there's been 3 safety cars in the first 14, 15 laps. So the chances of there being another one are pretty darn high, to be fair. And I think if that's the case, you need to consider that if there's going to be another 2 or 3 safety cars, would you not much rather be on softer compound tyres? Now, if this had given Vince the lead of the race, and therefore superior track position, I think that then absolutely staying out is the right decision. But it's only put him up into 7th position. The cars all ahead of him stopped, although a couple are carrying penalties. Guy has got a drive-through, which is, we can actually look at that now, actually. Let's have a look at all the penalties to serve. So 3 seconds for Alex, 3 for Bulk, and 3 for Zippo plays with that drive-through for Geehouse, which is going to drop him down the order somewhat. And obviously, he's got until I don't know how many laps it is before they have to serve it. There is a certain amount of time before they have to serve it, isn't there? Or is it just before the end of the race it needs to be served? And of course, it can't be done under safety car either. So yeah, that's a blow, because the racing begins and then Gearhouse is going to have to serve that drive-through penalty. Kind of hoping, I suppose, that he goes in and serves it and the safety car comes out while he's serving it, because that will count, surely. So, hopefully, touch a bit of wood, safety car is in. We've lost It Was Me from this race. It's currently Alex from Wombat from Ties, Nibman, Gearhouse, Disco, Bobby, Vince, Breezy, El Compadre, there he is, Jesper, Bulk, Tenastic, Wild Eyes, Vine and Zippo. There, your 15 drivers still left in this race, with a DNF for It Was Me in the Ferrari. So safety car is in this lap. I thought it would be, because I'm clever like that. Looking at constructors, at the moment the best performing constructors are the Mercedes-Benz, Nibman and Disco Bobby in 4th and 6th. So it stays as it is. They will top that constructors leaderboard. Or will they? I'm trying to do the math in my head, but it's not really my strong suit. So here we go. Let's go with Tyres Coviero in 3rd, because Alex and Wombat just ahead, and already Tyres is ready to go. The 2 cars ahead weren't ready to go, very nearly ploughing into the back of that Wombat Haas, or the Haas in the Wombat, as I referred to it earlier. How long can they hold Tyres at bay? And of course, remember, Disco Bob. Oh, little tap. That was a little love tap in the back of Wombat. Stewards are going to want to take a look at that. Naughty, naughty. For me, you give that back. Wombat picking up a time penalty. That's harsh, because I don't think he had much choice in going off track there, because Tyres helped him along his way. Unless I saw something that wasn't there. There was a little love tap from Tyres. So Alex leads the way. Tyres all over the back of him, the Aston Martin. And with his biggest rival, Disco Bobby, back in 7th, who is stuck at the moment behind Breezy, who, let's face it, is no slouch. As Gearhouse and Breezy duking it out side by side. There's quite a battle going on here. I was going to watch Tyres and the leader, but we've got Gearhouse here. With a good run behind Breezy down towards the Wall of Champions, of course. But he's going to have to serve a time penalty at some stage, or a drive-through penalty, I apologise, at some stage. When's he going to get that done? He's going to need to knock it off as quickly as possible. You don't want to leave that overhanging for any length of time, because it's just one of those things. You don't want to be beholden to any time. You want to know exactly where you stand in terms of race time. Behind Disco Bobby, behind Giesman, Disco Bobby, and ahead is his teammate in the other Ferrari. And as he tries to make the move on one Mercedes, the other Mercedes comes through, as does a Haas. That's a 2-way position change there. Absolutely stonking it. Good evening, Paul. How the bloody hell are you? Good to see you, man. Anyone wondering, it's I'm running 2 broadcasts, so different. Right, so you did the same out of that corner every lap, and it just spun you. TC isn't working too well for you at the moment. Oh well, it's a shame, isn't it? It happens sometimes. You know what? I was driving some GT racing earlier, and it's just one of those things. Sometimes the tracks just don't look after you at all. And Nibman, oh, that's gone all kinds of wrong. DRS enabled, virtual safety car, Nibman picking up a penalty. Gearhouse, it was Vince that made the contact with Gearhouse. So Gearhouse severely damaged, and what a horrible place to get that kind of damage, because it's just after the pit entrance. You're going to have to do an entire lap before you can come in and repair, and it is only a virtual safety car. So we may not even be under safety car conditions by the time Gearhouse gets back to the pits. That is absolutely devastating, because he was on a bit of a charge. let's have a quick look through the chat. So Vine with a drive-through penalty. Guy has already had a drive-through penalty as well, which is a bit devastating. Right, let's have a look what's going on in the track. On the chat, should we say? Ah, yeah, okay. Already covered. Already covered. Yeah, it sucks when you expect the car to do the same thing every corner, but we forget that tracks evolve, and sometimes you can touch the grass and get away with it. Sometimes you do the same thing and you've got your wheel turned just slightly wrong, and the back end steps out, and there's nothing you can do to protect it. I've had the issue today. I think I did 3 or 4 online races today, GT racing in the Radical at Road Atlanta, and to be fair, I did okay. I had some decent lap times. I was doing all right. I had one race where I got barged off the track as I went for an overtake. He saw me coming. And the irony was, actually, I didn't take the inside line. I went for the outside line. I went to go round the outside and let him keep the inside line. And because I was going round him before we even got to the corner, before we even got to the braking zone, a little barge and knocked me out onto the grass. But in the first couple of races, I just had a little instance where I touch a tyre on the grass or a little bit on a curb that I'd done 10, 15 times before, but this time it didn't like it, and it chucks the car out. And of course, then the next problem you've got is that the next time you go to that corner, you lose that little bit of confidence in being able to push. But it is what it is. We're watching Breezy, who didn't set a time in qualifying, currently now in second behind Tyres Coviero. Gearhouse in big trouble with having a penalty to serve, car broken, and Breezy setting the fastest lap of the race, meanwhile, at the other end. I tell you what, I said not to count him out because the pace was clearly there. And I was thinking, the guy will, get into the top 5, top 6 maybe. No. He is now in the top 3. And I tell you what, this is going to be driver of the day, rags to riches story for Breezy if he can take a podium position here. And he does have the fastest lap of the race, which is pretty darn good considering the stop-start nature of this race. It is very difficult when you've got a stop-start like this because it's important during a race to have that rhythm, to be able to kind of use that muscle memory to turn after turn, corner after corner, and use that rhythm to keep chucking in consistent lap times. When it gets broken up by safety cars or virtual safety cars and that kind of thing, it's very difficult. As we watch Breezy making what looked like the easiest overtake in the world on Tyres Coviero, and 2 cars behind crashed. Was that coming together between them? Try and have a look, see if we can see them on the racetrack. Destroyed. Can't see where they are. Well, it was actually on the straight. We've lost Jesper and Wombat. Did they come together? Did the 2 Haas cars crash into each other? Because they're both out of this race. No safety car this time, though. So Breezy is your race leader from Tyres Coviero. He already is 7/10 clear, showing incredible pace in that Williams racing car. Tyres Coviero in second. Alex in third. Disco Bobby led the race for so long. Well, I say so long. The first few laps of the race. Lost out to Tyres. Then the safety car came in. Then he came into pits. And he lost so many places, back in 4th at the moment. Alex does have a penalty which could play to Disco Bobby's hands. But can he make the overtake now on that Alpine to get himself into the top 3? Because the gap really opened up now between the front 2 and everybody else. Alex is now best of the rest. 8 seconds back from Tyres Coviero. Disco Bobby not close enough on those hard compound tyres. What happened there? That is some kind of crazy lag issue. He just went inside him. What was that all about? That is one of the issues with crossplay, is signal issues like that. So Disco Bobby is in third, or is he? Is he in third, or was that a lag? I don't know. That was weird, whatever it was. As Bulk into 5th place. We've seen him flitting up and down the pack. But currently running in 5th. That's El Compadre in the other Aston Martin. Aston Martin's the best performing cars at the moment, with Tyres in second and El Compadre in sixth. The Zippo plays making a move on Vince back into the top 10. We've lost 3 from this race so far. Both Haas, Jesper and Wombat are out. It was me. It wasn't. It was him. It was Michael. And he's out of this race. And the car just deciding to disappear into a wall. But he's all right now. He's all right. Fastest lap goes to Vine. I know I say Vince. It's Vine. It looks like Vince. That's why. At a glance. Probably need glasses, don't I? And we're watching El Compadre with that rear wing open. Makes the move on Bulk up into the chicane. And the move is done. Bang. It's done. Wild Eyes as well. Making the move on Tenastic. That's fantastic, said Tenastic. The view from behind Breezy looks like this. Now, why don't we have access to doing this with the cameras ourselves? That would be awesome if I could actually control which cameras I do rather than it decide for me. How does it know what I want to look at or want to show you? So Breezy leads the way from Tyres Coviero. Tyres is sticking with him. Disco Bobby has finally made his way back into that top 3, but he's got significant work to do to rescue at the top of the podium. You've got to bear in mind that he was at the front of the pack, leading the way from the very start. We're disappointed. The thing is that when you start on pole, anything other than a win is a disappointment because you've lost potential points. Tyres Coviero started second, is second for him. It'll be a day at the office. Didn't quite improve, but didn't get any worse. Alex with a penalty to serve is currently running in fourth in the Alpine, and El Compadre, who we've just seen make their way around Bulk, is starting to close down that gap. The gap is 3 seconds, 2.1 seconds, and that's Alex in the pits, so El Compadre getting past Bulk also in the pits for their second stop. There are 10 laps remaining here at Gilles Villeneuve, and it looks a little bit like this. Breezy leads from Tyres Coviero. Disco Boy in third, El Compadre in fourth, Tenastic in fifth, Wild Eyes in sixth, Nibman just making a move on Alex briefly until Alex regains that place coming out of the pits in seventh, Nibman in eighth. Bulk comes out in ninth position ahead of Zippo Plays. All 4 of them have a penalty to serve. Vince. Oh, it is Vince. There's a Vince and a Vine. That's why I got confused. Vince is 2.1 seconds ahead of Giehaus. Giehaus 14 seconds up the road from Vine. So it wasn't my eyesight. There was actually a Vince and a Vine. A Vince and a Vine, and they both raced for Alfa Romeo as well. How about that? Jesper Wombat and It Was Me are DNF from this race. And Breezy losing out again to Tyres during that little rundown. That allows Tyres to move back into the lead. But it's going to be... I don't think this is over between these two. I think every time one or the other get... Well, see that? That's a big issue for Tyres. Because unless he can pull out now a 3-second gap over Breezy... Whatever happens, Breezy's going to retake that position. So actually now Breezy's in quite a unique position now. Now, I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Breezy is not going to try and make an overtake. But he no longer has to. If the pair of them are racing to the end of the race now, Breezy will know he's got a penalty, I would have thought. It's up on the screen for all to see. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't pick up a penalty and stays within that 3 seconds of Tyres ahead of him. That's an interesting turn of events now because the pressure comes off of Breezy to chase down the leader and actually goes on to Tyres to do one of two things. He's got not only to keep Breezy behind him, but he's got to try and find a 3-second gap somehow. How do you do that when the guy behind you no longer has to exert too much pressure? For Breezy now, it's a walk in the breeze. It's a very simple job of just keeping the car in between those white lines. There's 12 seconds back to Disco Bobby in third. No challenge at all from behind. So at the moment, Breezy doesn't have to worry about potentially losing second to the guy on in third place, who at this moment is Disco Bobby. All he needs to worry about is staying within 3 seconds of Ty's Coviero. Now, if he keeps it within 1 second and gets the DRS and floats around in that sort of 1 second window for the rest of this race, he's going to take the win. And it's quite simple for him. We'll just double check the penalties, because actually I'm pretty sure that Ty's only has the 3 seconds. Just go quick look at tyres. It is hard tyres as well for tyres. So Breezy on those medium tyres. Now, I think he's going to have to stop again. That's the only thing. Will those medium tyres go to the end? I'm not entirely sure they will. So that's another consideration. The gap is now 1.6 seconds. So is he starting to look after those tyres a little bit? Why has he got Disco Bobby there? I'm looking at Breezy. Excuse me, there is Disco Bobby. He's on the hard compound tyres. Now, if Breezy does have to go in, that changes the complexion a little bit. I did want to bring up the penalties in a minute. Yeah, there we go. Just a quick look there. So 6 seconds for Alex, 6 for Nibman, 6 for Bulk, 6 for Zippo, 3 for Keyhouse. Yeah, so we've got Alex on 3 lap-old soft tyres. They should make it to the end without a problem. Now, that could bring it into play a potential top 3. A little bit quicker than Compadre and Disco Bobby, if you can be, on those softer tyres. And Breezy does have to come in. I mean, 13 laps is, you know, it's quite deep into his race already, but they've still got to take it to lap 35. I haven't done enough testing on the tyres to know if they will last. But I'll tell you what, if they don't, this is going to be an interesting finish. Looking at the back of the pack, the 2 Alfa Romeos, there's Vine. There's not Vince, and there is Vince. Both in the Alfa Romeos, both in 13th and 11th respectively. Sandwich Keyhouse, who was in the Alpha Tauri, really challenging up at the business end of things, but after an accident and some penalties and a drive-through and all sorts, it's not going quite as well as he would like. Nadim, how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? Good to see you. Zippo Plays is just inside that top 10 in that McLaren, with Bulk 5 seconds up the road. Zippo Plays, though, Bulk right up behind. There's a good battle here, actually, a 4-way battle, in fact, for 6th place. That's Wild Eyes, Tenastic, Nibman and Bulk. Bulk picking up a penalty, though. So Tenastic, out of those, in the best possible position. That's Bulk. Oh, there's coming in 3 cars. 3 cars ever coming together. But it is Nibman and Bulk who are the worst off there. And Tenastic up. Wild Eyes up and away. Zippo Plays comes through. Doesn't look like there's any permanent damage on any of those cars. But that's going to slow them up a little bit, that coming together. That's going to be another one for the stewards to have a little shifty-woofty at. So we wanted to go to Wild Eyes. This is the Wild Eyes running in 6th. 1.8 seconds back is Tenastic. You can see there, just in the distance, they head down to complete lap 30 of 35 here. Looking pretty damn good. You're prepping some plats for the robo. Of course, yeah, because you've got those robo mowers, haven't you? So you weren't just digging me out about being on the grass like that. You actually do make lawnmowers. Alex is in 5th place on those soft compound tyres. I'm wondering if Alex can really push those softs and close that 6-second gap on El Compadre, and potentially lining up a top 3. You never know. Right, looking at your race leader, there is your race leader, Ty's Coviero. Was originally 2nd on the grid behind Disco Bobby, but now in the lead of this race. And Breezy showed incredible pace. Whatever happens, I mean, credit to Ty's if he wins this race, credit to Disco Bobby staying in that top 3. But you've got to say that whatever happens, without a shadow of a doubt, I don't care what the game decides, Breezy has got to get driver of the day. Even if Breezy doesn't finish this race, Breezy has got to get driver of the day for that insane push from essentially last to 2nd. Now, there is no doubt that the safety cars helped in that endeavour. But the pace on this boy is just ridiculous. Has he pushed the tyres too far? Very likely that he's put a little bit too much through those mediums and now just has to nurse them home. 3 seconds behind Tyes Coviero. We know that Tyes has got that penalty. Now, if he wants to win this race, he is going to have to close the gap a little bit. Tyes is obviously pushing. Tyes knows he's got a 3-second penalty to serve and he needs to keep the gap between them 3 seconds. Breezy has got 4 laps to keep that 3 seconds within a reachable touching distance to then take the win. And he is getting there slowly. Now, the benefit, of course, is going to be if he can get within DRS. That's where he really would like to be. Because with only 32, so 4 laps remaining, including this one, it's going to be a task because you can see there that Ty's just starting to edge away. Disco Bobby's too far back. Disco Bobby's not going to make up that 15-second deficit unless, look, there could be another safety car. That could mix things up. Do I think it's going to happen? No. I think now we're settled in. I think everyone's found their rhythm. There's enough gaps between the cars. There is still a battle going on, though. If we go back to here, these guys all still pretty close together. Anyone really from Nibman, we can see there you've got Nibman. You've got ahead of Nibman is Vince. That's not Vine, that's Vince. Ahead of him, Zippo Plays. Ahead of him, Tenastic. Ahead of him, Bulk. All very good opportunities. Just, one mistake, one little slip on the grass, and this could be all changed there as Zippo Plays picking up a penalty. Breezy now picking up a penalty. So that has really thrown the cat amongst the pigeons. So 3 seconds for Breezy. So the job for Breezy to do was simple. Stay within 3 seconds, don't pick up a penalty. He hasn't been able to do either of those things. So Tyes has essentially got it in his hand, and there we have it. There's a safety car, or is there? We saw coming through the corner there, that was Nibman into the back of Vince. It looks like Vince has survived just. Is there damage? It certainly looks like there is front wing damage there. Yeah, there's the front wing is so damaged there isn't one. But Nibman is out of this race. And inexplicably, we've survived without a safety car. That, for me, was going to be a nailed-on safety car. More so than the couple early on. But, as luck would have it, we continue racing. It is awesome that you weren't joking. To be fair, I was kind of in two minds. Is he joking or does he actually make lawnmowers? But no, that's awesome, man. Awesome. Cool job. Cool job. So Tyes now 4.6 seconds clear. That penalty negated by the gap and negated by Breezy having one of his own. Disco Bobby. I've slowed it down because he has slowed down a bit. He's 16.4 behind those front two. And El Compadre is 4 seconds behind him. There is Alex running in 5th place. 9 seconds worth of penalties to serve. Bulk, of course, having 9 of his own. That's not going to help. That's going to move Tenastic up a couple of spots into... will it? No, it won't. It'll move Tenastic up 1 spot ahead of Bulk. It will move Zippo Plays and nowhere. Zippo Plays will actually lose a place to Wild Eyes. And Guy has with 3 seconds worth of penalties. It's far enough ahead of Vince for it not to be a problem. But Vince, of course, Vine, of course. Or was it Vine? Yeah, Vine was involved in that that incident with Nibman, which will definitely be getting looked at by the stewards, I think. But we're down to 12 drivers, but we've only lost 4. That's not bad going for an opening race. And we are about to finish the penultimate lap of the race. So we do want to stay on board with Tyes for the final lap. Tyes, 4.3 seconds clear. Started today on the front row. Wasn't first, was first initially. Set a blistering lap before Disco Bobby came in and shattered that by going sub 111. But Tyes has been there or thereabouts throughout this race, sticking in that front two, ever closer to at the back of Disco Bobby when he wasn't leading the race. Had that little battle with Breezy, lost out for a little while, then reined Breezy in, retook the lead of this race, and hasn't had to look back since. I was just scratching my leg, and the cat was underneath the chair and just dived at my fingers, and it literally scared the bejesus out of me. My heart is going like the clappers. I genuinely thought it was under my chair. Right, last lap of the race. This is the last time we're going to see them go through this big 180 switchback hairpin onto the power for the last time. Tyres heading down to this chicane for the last time. Lap 35 of 35 here in Canada. Soon we're going to get Tyres and Breezy and Disco Bobby in a little chat and have a little conversation with those boys. Through we go. Fastest lap goes to Vince, right at the death. But Tyres takes the win here, quite convincingly in the end from Breezy. There's Breezy coming to cross the line in second. Disco Bobby, little bit of a way to go. Coming up, who's that? He's coming to lap somebody right on this last lap. Disco Bobby comes round in that Mercedes-Benz Petronas and cross the line. 2 in the top 4 for Aston Martin. What a start to the season for them. That's big points for Aston Martin with El Compadre coming home in 4th, Alex home in 5th, Bulk home in 6th. But there is your race winner. Why is that not coming up? Oh, it is. There it is. I was looking at the wrong screen and wondering why it wasn't coming up. There's your race winner. It is Tyes Coviero in the Aston Martin. What a brilliant result from him. Absolutely stayed in and amongst it from the very outset and never looked back. Brilliant performance. We'll have a full rundown. We'll get all the guys in the interview. I'll do a full rundown while we get them, and then we'll get an interview and have a little chatty Rooney. So, but there is your driver of the day. As I said, Breezy, without a shadow of a doubt, Breezy had to be driver of the day. Was absolutely phenomenal, fighting his way through the field. Right, I'm going to find me some drivers to talk to. How's about that? I'll do a quick. Oh, look at that! Over he goes. Way. Right, let's do a full run through. While so drivers, can you get yourselves into chat while I do the final run through? Tyres Coviero, the Aston Martin, second on the grid, stopped just the once, wins this race. Second was Breezy in the Williams racing car, 15th on the grid. 15th to second is a phenomenal performance with a 1:13.6 fastest lap. Fastest lap of the race actually went to Vince down in 11th. Started 11th, finished 11th, not bad from him. Disco Bobby in the Mercedes-Benz, started first on the grid, finished third, be disappointed with that. El Compadre in 4th, Alex in 5th, Tenastic was 6th, 7th was Bulk, 8th was Zippo Plays, 9th Wild Eyes in the AlphaTauri, his teammate Giehaus just behind him in 10th. Vince and Vine in the Alfa Romeos were 11th and 12th. Nibman Jesper in 13th, Jesper 14th. Don't know why my kids are shouting quite so loud. It's really annoying. There we go. So Jesper, Wombat, it was me, and Nibman all did not finish. How's about that then? Right. I'm going to go and find me some drivers to talk to. I'm back very shortly. Right, I have with me the top three from the race. We've got Tyres Troviero, our winner. We've got Disco Bobby, who was the pole sitter, ended up third. And of course, we've got Breezy, who overtook about 1 million cars to get into second. We'll come to you first, Disco Bobby, because you got yourself pole, and you were thinking, well, it's got to be you got to think you've got an outside chance of winning from there, right?
Yeah, of course, but I knew the guys behind me were pretty quick, and it was probably the best lap I ever made on the school. That's all.
Give me 1 second because I don't think we've got your sound coming through for some reason. Bear with me. Now, because I've actually pressed the correct button. Right, yeah. So you got yourself pole. I mean, that was a blistering lap for pole, to be fair. Straight off the bat as well. I bet you were pretty confident with that time when you went sub 1:11. You must have thought no one's beating me today, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty quick lap, and I got surprised when I took it.
But it was pretty. I mean, when Tyres put that early lap in, I was thinking that's a tier one kind of lap you would expect, and I thought it was going to take some beatings. You must have been. I mean, what point in that qualifying lap did you think I've got this in the bag?
It was probably about the last sector. I felt like the delta was good, and the last chicane, I came through it pretty quick. And,
You were very close to the wall on exit there. To be fair.
yeah,
So the race started, and I mean, you dominated early on. You kind of held the lead, and even with the safety cars, and it's very difficult when you have a safety car because obviously you become the safety car, and it's kind of down to you to start the race. But if someone behind you just gets that millisecond jump on you, there's a real danger, isn't there, of losing a position when you come off the back of a safety car. So you really have to get your wits about you, don't you?
yeah, of course, I was trying to shake them off as quick as I could, but they were too quick. And then the DRS was enabled, and I couldn't hold on to them.
So I mean, but you fought back to get third, which is good. But I mean, you ended up sort of 12, 13 seconds back, didn't you?
Yeah,
It was almost. I mean, at one stage, the top three had a nice, comfortable gap over the rest of the field, but then they just disappeared. Which brings me on to Breezy. You went purple in qualifying, and I genuinely thought you were going to take pole, and then it all went wrong in the final chicane, didn't it?
Yeah, I messed up the whole qualifying, was just a right mess. Like I think the first lap I validated, and then went for another lap, and then validated this and next, and then obviously I'm screwed. So I ran out of fuel, so I had to pit. The same thing again, and then the last lap I hit the wall and got this and next, and got damaged. So I couldn't get a lap at all. I just right mess, and I was like, oh, this isn't great, because I'm out about now. Hopefully I just don't get caught up in it all and try and get through it. But at least I got through it.
Yes, I mean it's difficult, isn't it? Because the later you get into qualifying, the more pressure there comes on performing well in qualifying, and the more pressure
Yeah,
on each lap as you go through. When I was talking on the broadcast at the beginning about how important it is to get a banker lap on the board almost to make sure
yeah,
you've
I know what you
got
mean.
something there, so if it does go wrong. But if you can't get that banker on, you get to kind of last knock-ins like you did.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
It's madness. I mean, to be fair, all the
because
way through, I was
that's
thinking
when.
go purple. I'm thinking he's got this. You get to the next
Yeah,
straight,
I was hoping I
exit
was.
chicane, and then boom. And I mean, that was
Yeah, well,
brilliant as well.
as soon as I come down that straight, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I can't, please, just don't battle it. I think to myself, I'm gonna get pole, but I was thinking it's the last lap in it, so like you take a fifth and then a 15th, wouldn't you? So I was like, maybe I just brake really slowly. Then obviously you're not thinking that, are you? You just want to win, so you just go for it and you battle it, and it's like, oh,
Yeah, no, yeah,
uh,
absolutely. I mean, I was doing some GT races earlier on Gran Turismo, and I knew I should have pit when I should have pit. But I was
Yeah.
purple, and I thought, I'm not fucking pitting. I'm purple.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And
You
there
want to
you go.
go be the best, don't you? Yeah.
So the race itself,
Yeah.
15th on the grid.
Yeah.
How much impact on that charge forward came from the safety cars, do you think?
I'd say I probably wouldn't. I still think I'd back myself for a podium if there's no safety car, like that single one. But I don't think I'd have been as close as I was to like Ties, and I think I'd probably been around. I don't know the names that much, but I think Bobby would have been ahead of me as well. But I think I might have just slotted third. I think, but I think Ties would have won that by quite a bit if there wasn't. But obviously the safety car brought me closer. But the safety car felt kind of quite bad because obviously I started on the hards, and at that moment, like 14, when they meant to pit, it was kind of like mediums or nothing for me. So mediums are just good for like the first 10, and then eventually Ty just got past me and just went because obviously the mediums was just awful. So yeah,
You could see when the drop off was because you got past Ties and you looked
yeah,
like you had it in the bag, but then
yeah,
you could
yeah.
see
And they
that
just
you had a choice. Do you pit and lose loads of track position and
yeah,
eventually try and make it up, and then but I suppose you don't really want to put yourself in that position where you've got to overtake all those
yeah.
cars again.
Well, I got to like 30, and I was thinking I might because I knew I wasn't going to win, but then and I knew Ty's had pulled 3 seconds, so the penalty wasn't even like a problem. So I thought I could pit it, but I think it said I'd come out 4. I thought I'd get past 2 cars, and also at the time 2 warnings. So if I got another one, I got a penalty, and I did get another one and got a penalty. So it's kind of a good thing I didn't in the end because I might have got myself in a position where I could have finished third or something. So it's probably the best thing staying out and just accepting second, and and just moving on, and then
Well, that's it.
taking points is perfect, isn't it?
It's a long season, and you wouldn't want to
That's
sit
what
at
I'm
the end
saying.
of the season and think I could have won the championship if I hadn't have been so stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Moving on to our winner, Ties. You did qualifying, and within 2 minutes of qualifying, you had the fastest lap on the board, and you must have been absolutely gutted when it got wiped out right at the end.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say that it was a very good race for the part of the podium. And also, I'm sorry for my English, not my main language. But yeah, I tried to put a banker lap. I was kind of surprised with my lap. I think I did a lot of mistakes in a couple of corners. I think I lost about 2/10, maybe 3. But yeah, I kept going. I waited for the track to be rubbered in during the qualifying, and then I just went for it. And well, goddamn Bobby took my pole.
So yeah, the race itself, I mean, you were quite patient through the race because I mean, obviously Bobby went off into the distance and decided he was going to take the lead and kind of go out there, and you kind of stuck in there the whole time, and then you see a guy that starts 15th overtakes you for the lead. What are you thinking at that point? You're thinking, hang on, I've been here the whole time. This guy was 15th, and now I'm second behind him.
That was my first impression, but then I saw that he went for the mediums quite early, and I just had to be a little more patient again and try to go when his tires dropped down. I just went for it.
Because at one stage you were carrying that 3-second penalty, and he was penalty free behind you. And I was thinking at the time, you know, all he has to do, because what that changed the kind of the dynamic really, because he was no longer in a position where he had to push or try and get past you. He just had to stay within 3 seconds. So was there a point when you thought, if he sticks with me, I'm in trouble here? Or were you confident you could open up that gap beyond the 3 seconds?
Well, I was, at first I was worried, but then I saw that I was keeping up, taking 10 by 10 each lap, each corner, and his tires were dropping off. It was notable. So I was just saving a little ERS and just keep going, keep the pace, and praying a little. Then.
It was a great race. There was a crash behind you guys on lap 33 that I would have thought would have been a shoo-in for a safety car, and it was nothing. And I think had that safety car come out then, it would have been such a boring finish to a great race. So I'm glad it didn't come out because it would have finished on the safety car. But no, I mean the three of you were very entertaining. It was brilliant. Aston Martin have got 2 cars in the top 4, so going into the season leading the constructors. What do you think the season holds? Because we've got some quick drivers that weren't there today. I know Jamie that won last week wasn't around today. I know he's not there next week. But other than yourselves, who's your prediction for the one to watch this season?
Well, I think it's Breezy, of course, and Niemann that we saw in the pre-race. I think they will be the main competitors for first place. But me and El Compadre will just go race by race, make the most of each race, and we do the math in the end.
What about you, Breezy? Who are you tipping other than yourself, of course?
My teammate didn't race today. Number he didn't race, but I know he qualified fairly. I mean, he was winning the race, wasn't he? Hungary, then he spun, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if you saw Britain. I don't know if you commentated Britain, but he was one of the front runners around Britain. I think he finished 3rd or something. So, and I've been speaking to him like a bit, and he said he couldn't race and all that. But I think he'd definitely be one of the ones who for the podium every week. And obviously you haven't really seen him that much because he spun last week and didn't race this week. But I think when he gets a bit of momentum and starts racing, and I think he'll be one to watch.
Once we get a few weeks, I mean, people will start to find their form, and then we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about you, Bobby? Who are you tipping for the championship, mate?
I'm tipping Breezy or Coviero or Jamie, probably. They're quick.
The good thing is you guys are all picking lots of different people, which means we're going to get some great action this season. Listen, guys, it was awesome first race. I cannot wait till next week. Thank you for joining me, and hopefully at some stage this season we'll speak again.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Next week.
Well done. There we have it. That was your top 3. What a finish that race was. Absolutely brilliant finish too. An absolutely brilliant race. All I've got to say is thank you very much for joining me. This was the opening round, the Canadian Grand Prix for PGS Esports here on Black Flag Racing TV at Sunday evening. On Sunday evening. Great race for the top 3. Looking forward to some more likewise action. I think that's the right expression. Over the course of this season. But thank you for joining me. Thank you to Nadeem, PM10 Racing, everyone that's been involved in Pedro and Michael and Jamie and Number and everyone else that's been watching this evening. I've been Pirate from Black Flag Racing TV. This has been PGS Esports Formula 1 Tier 2 at Canada, and it's been emotional.